So we're going to be talking about some important documents. The I-20, which is for F1 visa holders, and the DS 2019 for H1 visa holders. This document has your biographical, program, and financial support information. Your passport needs to be valid 6 months into the future at all times. Your visa can expire while you're in the U.S. without any issues, but it will need to be renewed before re-entering the U.S. The I-94 is the document that tracks when you enter and leave the U.S. Please participate by putting your answer in the chat. How long should your passport remain valid into the future for? 12 months, 6 months, until your program end date, or none of the above? So the correct answer is B. Your passport must remain valid into the future for 6 months. Another question: if your visa expires while you are in the U.S. and you plan to leave the U.S., is it required to renew your visa? Yes or no? The correct answer is yes. You will need to renew your visa prior to coming back into the U.S. Our next thing we're going to talk about is, what is SEVIS? SEVIS is the Student Exchange Visitor Information System. This is an internet-based system used to transmit information to the Department of Homeland Security regarding foreign nationals present in the U.S. on F, J, and M visas. This is through the Student and Exchange Visitor Program, SEVP. Often, our office and your DSO will use these terms, SEVIS and SEVP, in regards to your visa status. This is the system that generates updated I-20s and DS 2019 documents. SEVIS requires timely updates and accurate information at all times. Your responsibility and documentation. Students' responsibility is to maintain valid F1 and J1 status. You must check with our office prior to paid or unpaid work, under enrollment, and other items. You must keep a personal file of all I-20s, DS 2019 copies, and you must keep on file proof of all requests and updates submitted to our office. You will likely be asked to present this documentation as evidence for applications for benefits in the future. Remember, it is your responsibility to maintain these documents. You can keep them in paper form in a folder, or you can keep them saved in a cloud or on a drive. Address updates. So F1 and J1 students are required by the Department of Homeland Security to report changes in local address, name, and phone number. This information is reported in SEVIS. Students must report any address changes within 10 days of moving. Address and phone changes must be made directly into My Central. Our next question, and again, please put your answer in the chat: within what time frame do I need to update my new address with the International Student Services Office? 2 to 3 days? 7 days? 10 days? I do not need to update my address with the ISS. The correct answer is C, 10 days. And that's 10 calendar days, not business days. Next question: which of the following should I report to the International Student Services if it changes? A change of name, a phone number change, an address change, or all of the above? The correct answer is D, all of the above. Remember, if you have any changes, it's important that you report these to the International Student Services within 10 calendar days. Financial support updates. The financial support listed on the I-20 and the DS 2019 must always be accurate. If your source of funding changes, you must provide updated documentation of the new source to ISS. This includes changes such as the additional loss of a scholarship or a graduate assistance position on campus. Your DSO and ARO will update your I-20 or DS 2019 with the new financial support details upon receipt of the documentation. We're now going to cover the top 3 ways to become out of status, and these are what you want to avoid if you are an F1 or J1 student. 1. Fail to enroll in enough credit hours. 2. Let your I-20 or DS 2019 expire. In other words, let the program end date pass without renewing it. And 3. Work without authorization. We're going to be covering maintaining full-time enrollment. There's a lot of information to cover, so please bear with me as we go through this. Graduate students must be enrolled in at least 6 credit hours each semester, fall and spring semesters. Undergraduate students must be enrolled in at least 12 credit hours each semester, and this also includes fall and spring semesters. Summer enrollment requirements can vary. You are not required to enroll for summer unless it's your first semester at UCM. If summer is your first semester of enrollment, then 6 credit hours is required for graduate students for full-time enrollment and 12 credit hours for your undergrad student. Students must enroll in classes towards their program of study to make normal progress towards program completion. F1 and J1 students may not take classes towards other programs that are not listed on their I-20 or their DS 2019 unless they are already enrolled full-time in their current program or have received prior approval from ISS. We're going to continue on that full-time enrollment. Another thing, 3 credit hours may be online only per semester to count towards full-time. Example, a graduate student wants to take 3 credit hours online. This student must still take at least 3 additional credit hours in the classroom to maintain full-time enrollment. A reduced course load for the final semester cannot be used in place of having a required majority of on-campus courses. Again, full-time enrollment continued. You need approval prior to dropping below full-time. Here are some examples of reasons why a student can be under-enrolled. Final semester of study, graduate student finished with required coursework or working on a master's thesis, a medical condition, concurrent enrollment at another school, initial difficulties with English language, American teaching methods, or course placement. Here's a question. Laylith is a graduate student at UCM and is taking 2 online courses, 6 credit hours. Is Laylith enrolled in enough hours to be full-time for the semester? Please answer in the chat yes or no. So the correct answer is no. Laylith does not meet the requirements for full-time status. He needs to enroll in an on-campus course to meet 6 credit hours of enrollment and remain in status. An example, 1 course in person and 1 course online. Kehlani has a medical issue that is making it hard for her to attend class, so she just stops going. Did she do the right thing? Please answer yes or no in the chat. So the correct answer is no. Regular attendance is required for all students on an F1 or J1 visa. Kaylani needed to fill out the reduced course load request and submit medical documentation to ISSS@ucmo.edu before stopping attendance so that her advisor could update CVIS first. We're now going to talk about academic probation. If an F1 or J1 student is placed on academic probation for more than one semester, they could become ineligible for their degree and therefore will be out of status. If you are having difficulty in your courses, please meet with your academic advisor and your international student advisor to discuss resources available to keep you on track academically. We're going to talk about the extension of a program. This is point number 2. If your I-20 or DS 2019 end date is nearing expiration and you are not ready to graduate, you must fill out our program extension request form. Your academic department will need to provide a letter to our office explaining the reason for the delay in your program completion. If you are in this situation, you must contact us before the end date of your I-20 or DS 2019. You must contact us as soon as possible, as it is apparent that the program end date listed on your I-20 DS 2019 is prior to your anticipated completion date. Notice that to maintain status, an F1 or J1 student is required to make normal progress toward completing a course of study. The student and the academic department must be able to prove that a student is making normal progress for an I-20 or DS 2019 extension to be approved. Nikhil's I-20 program end date is May 14th, 2022. Nikhil applied for a program extension on May 30th of 2022. Will Nikhil be able to extend his I-20? Go ahead and answer yes or no in the chat. So the correct answer is no. Nikhil needed to apply for the program extension before the end date on his I-20. This is to allow his advisor time to extend his I-20 in CVIS. The third topic we're going to be talking about is employment. So F1 and J1 students can work up to 20 hours per week on campus while school is in session. Students are responsible for ensuring that they stay within 20 hours of work total per week between all on-campus jobs held. This includes positions with Sodexo and other on-campus jobs. Our office is informed if a student works more than 20 hours in a week, and this may require CVIS termination. F1 and J1 students can work full-time during the summer and other school breaks. We're going to continue talking about on-campus employment. F1 and J1 students are only eligible for on-campus employment until the last day of finals during the final semester of the academic program. On-campus employment must be located on the university campus. New students may begin work up to 30 days before their program starts. However, if a student does not have a Social Security number yet, the on-campus employer will require an SSN prior to beginning work. The student must have a job offer, enroll, apply for an SSN letter with our office, and wait a few weeks for CVIS processing time prior to beginning the SSN application process. Here's a question. There is a restaurant close to USAM that Durrani wants to work at. Would this be considered on-campus employment? Please answer yes or no in the chat. The answer is no. Only places on the UCM campus would be eligible as on-campus employment, such as Sodexo dining services, custodial positions, etc. If you are ever in doubt, check with an advisor, or you could be in danger of going out of status. Kishan begins working for Sodexo on campus, and he reports 22 hours on his timesheet during 1 week in the semester. Is Kishan maintaining his F1 or J1 status? Please answer yes or no in the chat. The correct answer is no. F1 and J1 visa holders are only eligible to work up to 20 hours per week while school is in session. Kishan's SEVIS record may need to be terminated, and unfortunately, they would likely be required to leave the U.S. due to this violation. Here's some more information about employment off campus. F1 and J1 students must receive permission before beginning paid or unpaid work/internships off campus. J1 options include academic training. For this, you will need to see the Exchange Student Advisor for more information. F1 students' options are: students must have been in valid F1 status for 1 academic year before becoming eligible for off-campus practical training or work. 1 full academic year is defined as 30 weeks. Summer enrollment does not count. Only spring and fall enrollments count for 1 academic year. Curricular practical training, CPT, is an internship in academic program prior to graduation. You must have CPT authorization in order to work. This means you must have your CPT I-20 in hand. Optional practical training, OPT, is a 12-month work authorization in the field of study after graduation. You must have an EAD card and USCIS approval to work on OPT. Severe economic hardship is work to support unforeseen economic circumstances beyond your control. You must have an EAD card and USCIS approval to work under this authorization. We're now going to talk about CPT. CPT is academic in nature. The training is directly related to your major area of study. You must continue to make normal progress towards your degree completion and enroll full-time while on CPT. You cannot provide assistance to a company or organization or internship on or off campus for class credit without an I-20 that has been approved for CPT. It is the student's responsibility to contact our office for the proper documentation to begin an internship or practicum on or off campus. Gresham has a friend who owns a business in Lee's Summit. Sometimes Gresham helps out in the office when her friend is very busy. Is this considered work? Please answer yes or no in the chat. Yes, it would be considered employment, and if Gresham didn't have prior authorization, she would be out of status. Her advisor would be required to terminate her record, and she would have to leave the U.S. Working without authorization. Please do not do this. Working or volunteering without authorization is a violation of your visa status, and we will be required to terminate your SEVIS record if we receive information that you have been working without authorization. You would then need to leave the country, and you could be banned from returning to the U.S. for a period of time. We're now going to talk about travel. You may leave the U.S. at any time. However, you must inform your instructors if you're traveling during the semester. To re-enter the U.S., you must have a valid passport, U.S. visa, your I-20 or DS-2019 with a valid signature for travel within the past 12 months. We do recommend 6 months here at University of Central Missouri. This I-20 or DS-2019 must be signed by your International Student Advisor, DSO, or ARO. Urgent travel questions can be directed to our office. We're now going to talk about FERPA. FERPA is Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. FERPA is a federal law that protects the privacy of students' educational records. Schools must have written permission from a student in order to release any information from a student's educational record to a third party. If you would like for the university to be able to share information with a family member or friend, then you must submit an authorization to release educational records, and you can get this form through the Office of the Registrar. An exception/waiver to FERPA for F and J1 non-immigrants is the university's requirement to report information in SEVIS and, upon request to the U.S. Department of Homeland Security and other related U.S. government entities. This is under U.S. Title VIII, Education Privacy for F, J, and M non-immigrants, and you can find more about this at the ICE government webpage. Priyanka has an interview with a software engineer position with H&R Company. A supervisor working for H&R is requesting to speak with her DSO about her visa status and her grades. Priyanka tells the employer that it's okay to contact her DSO. Can the DSO speak with her potential employer? Please answer yes or no in the chat. The correct answer is no. Unless Priyanka has completed the authorization to release educational records form from UCM, her DSO will not be able to speak with the potential employer regarding her visa status and her grades. Emmanuel's uncle is calling to speak with his DSO regarding a situation related to his visa status. Emmanuel completed the authorization to release education records form for UCM, but he did not list his uncle on the form. Can the DSO speak to his uncle? Please answer yes or no in the chat. The correct answer is no. Since Emmanuel's uncle is not listed on the authorization to release educational records form, his DSO is not able to speak with his uncle. Another question. An agent from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security requests academic and SEVIS status records from a DSO regarding an F1 or J1 student. Is the DSO able to provide the records to the agent? Please answer yes or no in the chat. The correct answer is yes. The DSO is required to provide information regarding F1 or J1 students to an agent from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security upon request based on U.S. Regulation 8. We're now going to talk about alcohol issues that can affect F1 and J1 visa holders. In the U.S., the legal age to consume or buy alcohol is 21. If you are drinking and under the age of 21, you can get in trouble with the law enforcement out in town and here on campus. Depending on the nature of the citation, it can have an effect on your visa and future benefits through USCIS. Driving under the influence, DUI, and driving while intoxicated, DWI. If you are arrested and or convicted of a DUI or DWI for alcohol or drugs, your visa will be revoked. Once you leave the U.S., you likely will not be able to return on your student visa or any other type of visa. Students can generally remain in the U.S. on a revoked visa. Questions about visa and alcohol. If I break the law while at UCM, UCM can help me find an attorney. This is incorrect. UCM will not be able to find an attorney to represent you. Question: I was arrested for driving under the influence of marijuana. Can my visa be revoked? Yes. Will I get into trouble if I leave the U.S. before my court date? Yes. You will be issued a warrant for your arrest for failure to appear. Can I use marijuana since it's legal in the state of Missouri? No. As an F1 or J1 visa holder, you fall under federal regulations and laws. Marijuana is not federally legal within the U.S. We're now going to talk about scams that target international students. In the last few years, scammers have been targeting international students through email and phone calls. Scammers are phishing for information or threatening you into giving them money or gift cards to avoid getting into trouble. The types of scams that have targeted international students have been related to work, immigration status, law enforcement, travel, taxes, SEVIS fees, and educational fees. Please note, the U.S. government will never call you about a Social Security application, visa issue, USCIS application, etc. Government offices will send letters via regular mail. What to do if you receive a scam call? Do not give your personal or bank information, including your address. Write down the phone number and the context of the call. Record the call if possible. Report the call to International Student Services, Public Safety, and Student Experience and Engagement. Do not click on or respond to the email, as the scammers may be able to access your email contact list or send a virus affecting your device. Praveen gets a call from a number that looks like it's from an office at UCM. The person on the other line asked for his personal information, banking information, because it's needed for updating his records at UCM. Praveen should give them everything they asked for, ask for the name and why they need it, tell them you need to check with your advisor first, or hang up and notify Public Safety and the ISS office. Go ahead and record your answer in the chat. The correct answer is D. Hang up and notify Public Safety and International Services Office right away. Here is our final question. Do you remember what some of the main reasons for students to become out of status are? We talked about 3 main reasons. Go ahead and put at least one in the chat. So our top 3 reasons for F1 and J1 students going out of status are failure to enroll in enough credit hours, allowing the end date on their I-20 or DS 2019 to pass and expire, or to work without authorization. Here are some additional resources that you can use. The ISS Forms page is for all requests and information relating to F1 international students. The link to this page can be found in the signature of all email replies from isss@ucmo.edu email account. Be sure to check your UCM email account for important updates and notifications. We are here to help you with your I-20 and DS 2019 for all your F1 and J1 advising needs. Thank you so much for your participation. We're now going to use this time in the visa presentation for your questions. If you have any questions, please put those into the chat.